not adverse in going backwards, but he's not playing today. I was a bit surprised that. Also with Jetta sitting on the bench as a sub, so that pace aspect could be the telling distance.
Plenty of niggle to start things off. Let's go on a Saturday afternoon. The stakes are high. Slipping over Hardingham, but he paddled the ball out towards his teammate in Carlisle. Left it behind. Gibbs gathers. Kicks down in the Robinson direction. Hooker right there with him. He bends it around the body. Good location. Dempsey there first to Fletcher. And his clearing kick, a good one. And the mark is taken. A nice one by Alex Brown for the Bombers. Chips it in short. Here's Stanton back in the team after a couple of weeks out. Didn't make it to Lonergan. Play on was the call, and through the middle they go. Not a great kick. Tui slipping over. It was Dempsey's kick that was poor. Tui's got the footy, lost the footy. Cramery, ditto. They're trying to force a bounce in there. Murphy bottling it up. Both teams. Umpire lets it run. And surely now he will say, let's bounce.
It's evident, or the ground itself is not holding up. There's a couple of players already slipped and lost possession of the football. So this is a case of the nerves plus that ground will have some bearing early.
So two old rivals going again. Watson tried to give it off. Stanton just somehow got it to Davey. Back inside. Luanda Brown back to Davey now. Now the long ball. Ryder, welcome back. Couldn't quite take it. Spilt to ground, picks it up. Lost it again. Well done, Tui. Luanda Carazzo drew the man. Through it went to Dygan. His handball a little bit sloppy. Carazzo picked it up. Cramery just pushed over the line by Gibbs. And over the ball went too, as we see a little bit of hurly-burly, Mick.
Yes, well, the stakes are massive. There's no question about this. This is a game of there's no love here.
Bell Chambers got a hand onto it, spilled out the back. Here's a chance for Lonergan. Maybe around the corner. Can Brown kick one? It's across the face.
The Blues are running two hard tags today. Curno's gone to Stanton, and Carazzo will be playing on the Brownlow favourite, Joe Watson.
Yeah, Chris Judd without a Guernsey at the moment. We get a really good look at the strapping on those shoulders. It's probably the most famous shoulder strapping in the game.
No doubt about that. And the second one would be Mark Murphy. He's showing a bit of shoulder off as well with a torn jumper too. So plenty happening for the stewards early.
Get ready on eBay too, that Guernsey. Most likely is going to be worth a fair bit. Stanton, lively start from him. He kicks inside 50. Had a bit too much on it, out of bounds, and will be thrown in.
Well, it's interesting who comes off the ground there. You've got Judd coming off. His marker comes off as well, so that jumper change will determine who comes back on as quick as they possibly can to get Judd on.
Yeah, Murphy too. His Guernsey looking the worst for wear. Ball inside 50 again. Gibbs trying to find a way through. Got it to McLean, who's clearing kick out towards defensive 50. It was beyond the mark. Here's Curnow to Betts. Very close to the line when he kicks. Not the best kick, a wobbly bouncer inside. It was met well by Dempsey. They work it out nicely. Kick off half back after the hooker handball to Hardingham, and Watson is marked. He goes to Brown. He's called to go by the umpire, and the kick to Hurley, terrific.
That was a great kick. Essendon half forwards pushing up, trying to create some space for their key forwards in Hurley, and also Monfries playing out of the square. So that was a good setup. Just see the space created there. Davey pushed up, took Yaron away, created a hole there for Michael Hurley.
23 goals this season. You can see his work there from set shots on screen. The 22-year-old has played 60 games. This to get the Bombers off to a pretty good start. That's the bad kick from there, just to behind. It's the Bombers with two behinds for the day, and Carlton yet to score. In fact, the Blues have only been inside 50 once.
Chris Judd's back on the field, as is his shadow, Heath Hocking. He'll be running with him all day.
So White now at half-back for the Blues. Goes, well, he's got Judd or Waite, either nice options in the end. Well done, Hardingham, just got a hand on it. The ball into Hocking, now to Stanton. Quickly to half-forward, ball misses Hurley. Ends up with Cramer, he's got a few Blues to beat. Got the ball back inside, a chance for Ryder. Takes the ball then, just lost it in the tackle. Tui underneath it all. He's got a heap of heat coming from Bombers. He's going to hold it up for the moment. Umpire lets it roll. Lonergan underneath it all.
There's a lot of predictability about the game. There's heavy tags everywhere, and I'm just watching Robinson run away from the area to make sure Fletcher goes with him.
Well, Lee, he read it well, went through, lost his feet. Hurley picked it up, fires at goal. Scotland happy just to see it over, and the Blues will win back possession.
Just hanging tough at the moment, the Blues. Got an opportunity now with the kicking just to maintain possession. Their backs are under a hell of a lot of pressure at the moment.
4 inside 50s for the Bombers, just the one, as we've mentioned, for the Blues. It's still just the one. Walker had it knocked away. Waiting down in front. It came across to Hibbert. Bouncing ball to the second gamer in Lee. Got a handball out towards Lonigan. He'd love a goal from there. Didn't have a lot on it. Cramery in the square. Murphy arrives to help out. Thought about taking it through, then kept it in, and the chip kick is a nice one, and the mark taken by McInnes. He plays on from defensive 50. Now, if this goes out, it would have been interesting to see how the umpire would have called it. Not required. Garlett kept the football in. Wait. Well done at the back, his man Carlisle. They worked it across nicely to Hibbert. And now running through the middle of the ground, Melksham to Watson. Here he is, the former rising star. Heppel kicked too much on it for Hurley, and White the clearing kick.
Well, it's a good ball in the end. Robinson, he didn't take it cleanly, had to go and get it again. Well, McLean favoured by the advantage in the weight direction. Couldn't take it cleanly, but he'll get the free kick, and the Blues will have a shot at goal.
Yes, it's amazing just that one touch, bad kick by Heppel coming into the forward line for start off. Just allows the Carlton players to rush the ball forward. It's those little things that differentiate between winning and losing games in these close games.
Yep.
Well, plenty of chat on the ground. Mark Murphy waiting for a fresh jumper. Chris Judd also has been off. Plenty of hurly-burly early. Mark Murphy on the side of the ground as Footy Nation watches on. Jared Waite, he fires at goal, and the Blues get the first on a Saturday afternoon. So Jared Waite, what a welcome inclusion he's been. Mark Murphy just grabs a fresh jumper and waits for further instructions.
How many do you reckon they've got home? No, it's a semi-serious question.
Mick, how many do they have, Tommy, in the locker for jumpers?
Couldn't go on forever.
I think there's 2. Back in the day, they used to pull out the higher numbers, and you get a bit of blood on your jumper and run out with 75, but that's changed a bit. That goal certainly means a lot to Jared Waite. He's a couple of games back now, kicked 3 goals after a long delay a couple of weeks ago. Just the one last week. He's cherry ripe to go now. That's a big win for the Blues.
And against the run of play, you'd have to say, 2 inside 50s to 5, and with their second one, they come up with a goal. Well done, Judd. Out towards Gibbs. He fights off Brown. He kept his footing, then his vision. Long down towards full forward. Robinson came with a big fly. Eddie Betts has socked that. Has it got enough? Goal umpire right on the line, signalling touched ball. Came from nowhere, Eddie, and Fletcher with a long kick down the middle of the ground.
Well, Melksham will end up with the ball straight back to him, either through the mark or, as the umpire called, high. So the Bombers, they send it forward now. Hurley's the man that has to wait. A little bit of a nudge from Simon White was okay. Now the foot race. Hurley versus White. Hurley wins out. Hurley fires, but no brilliance this time.
Watching the players come to the bench, they're really blowing hard, which means the intensity's right up in this first 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, the heat's on, no doubt, Kirky. It's a fast start to this game. Conditions not ideal and just a little bit sloppy underfoot. Here's Watson. This is a bonus for the Bombers. The Brownlow medal favourite with Essendon's first. Well, just a little something out of nothing to get Essendon going. Maybe just to kickstart them. Fortuitous there. It wasn't a great kick out. Heppel to Lee to Watson, and a goal. The Bombers by 2 points.
Risky kick for a start off, and Watson's really improved his game dramatically with his finishing off. He knows where the ball's going to go. When he latches onto it these days, he's either uses it very well by foot or hand, and that's a classic case of finishing off with a goal.
What a treat this afternoon, Judd and Watson. On the way through. As the Blues get a free kick. 2 of the game's best exponents in the mayhem of the midfield. This time Cruiser goes forward, Waite the target, Casbolt over the top. In the end, Hibbert couldn't take it cleanly. Hocking, he lost his feet. Here's a chance for Gullett. Cruises past, tries to bust through Bombers. Couldn't. Curnow picked up the ball. Melksham grabs him.
Call mine. There you go.
Huge numbers around the footy at the moment. Eddie Betts is obviously the real danger point for the Blues, having kicked 16 goals in their past 3 outings against the Bombers.
Hocking looks like he's going with Judd for the moment. Quick fist, Hibbert hurriedly sends it to the wing. A lot of space out there. The runners charge at it. Should sit okay for Dygan. In this week after a few weeks out with form, they clean the target. Couldn't find him.
Essendon seem to be throwing a player in behind the ball, at the ball, whereas Carlton were prepared to set the spare player behind the ball, which Dygan in this case was able to easily run onto it.
Holding Tom Bell Chambers, locked him up.
Well, that was the strategy, Mick, that worked so effectively for the Bombers in round 4 and caught everyone off guard when the Blues were absolutely red hot, and I think at that stage premiership favourites, so obviously going with what worked for them earlier in the year.
So different, isn't it? Round 4 to now. Undefeated both these sides when they met last time. Both seemingly finals bound. A must-win occasion this afternoon. Hooker to Carlisle. He's got a heap of space inside. Terrible kick, finds Cruiser. The Blues have got some numbers around the ball. Cruiser sends it to Brock McLean. Has to wait. Ball okay. Garland over the top. Ignored for the moment. Casbolt goes back in his direction now. Lost his feet. Came off hands, ends up with Brown, finds his man Hibbert, quickly to Watson. And the Bombers will get away. Hocking goes short and finds his man. They got to bring it through Lee, and now to Dempsey.
Yeah, got it from Lonergan, now Dempsey out wide. The handball, Melksham kept running. On the wing, setting the Bombers up again. He goes with a long one in the Cramery direction. Dygan at the back. Terrific effort by Cramery in the conditions, and Dygan played it well as well. Hocking into the back of Scotland, no free. Look at Judd hitting it with pace, but he left it behind, and Cramery's kick, terrible from there. He had more time.
Well, he did have more time. I just think the game played at round 4. If they think the same strategy is going to work, I'm not 100% sure. This ground with the wet conditions or slippery conditions don't allow necessarily you're able to the opportunity to run the ball as often.
Well, Simpson's kick off the side of the boot as well. Dygan a hand to it. Melksham there, quickly off the ground. Might just work out the chaos ball. Little one to Lonergan, the give. Couldn't find Zaharakis. Well done, Yaron. Dished it off. The Blues will come away now. Eddie Betts with Casbolt, but front spot Hooker. Couldn't take it cleanly. Got it the second time. Little one to Hardingham. Now to Fletcher. A spiralling ball inside 50. Watson, did he use his body illegally? Umpire says so. You get the feeling there's a few that disagree.
So Gibbs now takes the footy off half back, and he has got vacant territory in front of him. 2 bounces already. He goes long in the Eddie Betts direction, and well done, Fletcher. Where did that fist come from?
Well, Inspector Gadget, it's just unbelievable. He is, for 30 plus, he gives us old people a great deal of hope in life.
You're not talking about a comeback. Well, a coaching comeback maybe, Mick, but a playing comeback?
Oh, no, I was looking for playing.
That was incredible. His body was not in the frame, Tom, and then the fist came from nowhere and spoiled what was a certain mark and probably goal for Eddie Betts.
Here's a great look at it again. He just has an uncanny knack of knowing where the ball's going to drop. He didn't make the contact with Eddie Betts. He might have actually tweaked the top of his hip flexor there. We'll have to keep an eye on him. That'd be a massive blow for the Bombers.
He does look in a bit of pain there, hunched over. So Carlton trying to get something going. Garlett to wait. He fired it back into a better location. Zaharakis, welcome back to footy. Taken by Robinson. They work it out eventually to Gibbs. Now McLean around the body. Kick down for Walker. Armfield. Dempsey, it's back to Armfield. He looks up and concedes some ground to improve the situation. Yaron's got it right on the 50. The man on the mark, Davey. Plays on quickly, too much on the kick over Murphy's head. Curnow left it behind, Murphy goes again. It's slapped out Heppel's way. Hurley a long way from home. Lonergan very slow. Armfield got him.
I really don't understand how players can wander through a back line and think that there's no one around them. It's that's a real offence there. You just got the wanders. I got a nice hand pass. There's probably... There would have been close to 30 players inside that back 50.
There were 31, Mick.
31.
All bar 5 players were involved in that. So to your point, to not have the awareness that someone's going to come from somewhere.
Dennis Armfield, 3 goals in 6 games against the Bombers. 14 in 23 here at the MCG. Armfield kicking for a lead for the Blues. He's offline, just to behind.
Dustin Fletcher's just come off. He looks a little bit proppy. It might be his hip flexor or his groin. It's something he does have. He's gone down the room, so it's going to be serious for the Essendon.
Just looked like he overstretched when he went to affect the spoil on Eddie Betts there and looked to hip flexor injury.
Well, quickly the Bombers work it to their skipper. In turn, he was hoping to move it quickly, but Judd just got a hand onto it. In turn goes to Waite. Over the top, Carazzo just rides the tackle, does well, then moves and shimmies and buys himself some time. On the lead, Betts, front spot, well done in the end. Hibbert.
There's no 50 there. With all due respect to one of our great umpires, that ball was accidentally come out of the hands.
So Hibbert quickly inside 50, Hurley on the lead. In the end, White was there, did enough, took it to ground underneath it. Well, that was crude from Simpson. Davey, Simpson just throws it forward. Tui was there. Davey, big tackle. Heppel just got away from Murphy. Little Wonder Brown, now the quick kick inside 50. Who's at the fall of the ball? Yaron only. But it's going to be a Bombers shot at goal.
Camry, arms around. You got his arms on his waist. No, you can't do that. There's a lot in it. It's a hole. Time back on. Mark's there, right there, Nick. Where are you? Yeah, where were you? That's it. Stay out 5, Chris.
Well, the one on Davey looked a trip, didn't it? An accidental one, but still it was there.
So Crameri to extend the 1-point lead. He does. So Crameri, after in South Australian parlance, Tommy, having a shot earlier with a check side, hit the wrong part of the ball and send it out of bounds on the full. Drop punt, no problem, Bombers by 7.
Become a really important part to their side, and particularly early the resurgence of the Bombers. Just has great physical presence, has really good strength between his core and his quads, holds his opponent out well.
Just an injury update on Fletcher. It's been confirmed it's a right adductor. It's an injury he's had earlier in the year that he's obviously aggravated.
Essendon by 7 points. The clash would like this. Ratton has decided to ruck the Casboll. There he is. Got his handball forward. Might work out okay. Here's Carazzo. Probably not the fondest memories of the last time he played against the Bombers on this ground. Hardingham missed what he should have taken. Danger. Leaves it for Eddie Betts. Now to Garlett from on the 50. Sends it home. Sends it accurately. Quick reply. It's back to a 1-point game. One mistake and that's all it takes. The footy left behind on the ground and they're away. Quick as a flash. Betts to Garlett goal. And they've moved it quickly. They've looked very exciting. And we thought this was going to be a very even contest. And we haven't been disappointed. The Bombers 2-3, Carlton 2-2, Essendon by a point.
Extremely hot game of footy at the moment, and mistakes like that will hurt you every time. Hardingham is usually very good overhead, just spilling the mark, and ever the opportunist Garlett comes back, 1 point in it.
So speed and an uncanny goal sense from Garlett. Gets the Blues back in charge. Here's a man with speed. Yaron just quickly fires it forward. Waite charges at the ball. Carlisle got there first. Paddled it forward. Did enough. Well done. Hardingham to Monfries. Over the top he goes. Crameri a long way from home. Now the long ball. Hurley. He's got White to beat. Bouncing ball stays in. Favours McLean. Just pushes off against Hurley. Sends it inside. McGuinness now White. Now the long ball. Walker. He might just get the sit here. Uses his body. Hands on it. Spilt to Hardingham. Well, the handball ended up with Murphy. He can draw the player and go over the top to Simpson. The ball, well, who goes back with it? Simpson did well in the end. He made something out of nothing in the end. A little sit and a nice mark from Simpson, and Robinson is seemingly injured out of all that.
Now, Hardingham would be wishing that the game could start again. He's just made a couple of real fundamental errors, one on his marking and one just hand pass directly to the Carlton players. This is a game of unforgiving, this game, because if you make a mistake, it's going to tell, because you can't really travel far on this really is underfoot, a little bit slippery, and you've got to make the most of every ball that comes your way.
So the Bombers by a point. Not anymore. Blues, they get their noses in front. So Simpson, he's enjoying his return to football after breaking his jaw. He's wearing, he was last week anyway, a mouth guard on the bottom set of teeth as well as protection. Chris Judd, all Blues fans and teammates enjoying his return.
Yeah, well, it's a great mark by Simpson for a start off, and to finish off, he's just such a wonderful player, very brave, takes a good mark for his size. There's Chris Judd there. He'll be starting to feel the pinch a bit at this end of the quarter. They need him up for the whole game, so he'll be judging himself and making sure he gets through.
There he is, Judd. Carlton players wearing black armbands today for Blues events manager Sophia Sarli, who lost her battle with cancer this week, aged just 29. Now sympathy to the family and indeed everybody at the Blues. Davey kicked, pushed as he kicked, and that's going to be a free kick.
Looks like Fletcher's put the vest on. It's been activated. Jetta will come into the game. It's a big blow for Essendon.
Massive story right there, boys. Inside the first quarter and Fletcher gone.
Just on Davey here. Davey's the sort of player that he's got to finish off. He's not as dynamic as he was when he first entered, maybe because of his knee, so he's got to make the most of all those kicks.
So it's a tough angle for Davey. He started his run up on the boundary line. It drifts across the face and just to behind. The Blues up by 4 points, going okay, and that's a big story right there. The key defender gone for the day.
It's a huge win for this man, right? Oh, he's just run under the ball. Mitch Robertson, who was doing a defensive work on him as a forward. He can get himself busy now, Mitch Robertson.
Hibbert to a hot spot for the Bombers. Judd just taken by a couple of Bombers. Monfries and Hurley the tacklers. Watson, he's already scored one, tries to get another. Gibbs, good in the end. Carazzo, the look way, terrific to Yaron. He starts to run. Ball's pretty good, and on the outer side, the Blues just combine Betts. Another little one to Casbolt, back to Yaron. Yaron to half forward. Walker gets on the end of it. That was good movement from the Blues.
He handled the ball 3 times, Yaron, right through there, and each time he hit his target and followed up his work. He's a very exciting player off the half-back line, and particularly when he can use the ball in an open corridor like he did.
Well, Walker's first touch of the afternoon was a clean one and gives them the opportunity to press and open up the game's biggest lead as we approach quarter time. Took that enormous mark against the Bombers. I think it was over the top of Carlisle a couple of years ago. This time the kick not as he would have liked. So the Blues by 5 points.
Really interesting approach to goal there by Andrew Walker. So they had a few sort of shuffles in, didn't look as familiar as some of his approaches. He got too close to the man on mark in the end.
Also, Tom, I reckon that when the ground moves a little bit, you tend to just have lack that little bit of confidence in the ground, so you tend to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That element of doubt.
Dempsey's kicking, not a good one. It wobbled towards the 50. It's gathered by Wade. He sends it back right over Dempsey's head. He's got 2, and the Blues out to an 11-point lead. Well,
He straightens him up a bit, doesn't he?
sure does, but the kick in not good. It was a wobbler, and Wade just on the end of it. A big chain of players trying to get their hands on it first, and some skill errors we've seen from both teams. Conditions obviously not ideal. At Carlton, they'll be buoyed by this. An 11-point lead, and that man sitting down.
Simpson's attempt to mark there. The ball falls through. Wade's such a dynamic type of player, not only in the air but on the ground, because he's so quick, and he's been very accurate in the last 3 or 4 seasons. He knows how to use that long ball.
You've just joined us. Dustin Fletcher will take no further part in this clash this afternoon. Stanton, long ball, well done. Scotland, strong hands. Quickly moves the ball on the Blues. They're on the march. Gibbs goes searching. Robinson's the target on the outer side. Heppel to beat. Robinson goes to ground. Brings Heppel to ground too. Hardingham gets there first. Arches his back. Gets around and inside he goes with a handball. This time to Brown. Long ball inside 50. Ryder. Well, he's out-muscled in the end. It fell to McGuinness and he quickly goes to Simpson. He's got Curnow on a hard lead on the wing. Further afield is Judd. Over the top in the Judd direction. Well, Hibberd got front spot. Spilt though to Curnow. Now to Judd. Can use Diagon if he wants. Ignores him. And a beautiful ball to Garlett.
He's conceded on the lead there, Courtney Dempsey. Just let him run straight away from him, Garlett.
Over the top to Murphy. Right on his range, you'd think. Armfield. Little lead over the top. Walker too. And now Walker's chosen. And he can have his second set shot of the afternoon. The first, a minor score, Dustin Fletcher. He'll be sadly missed in that back six.
Well, just watching Walker do the lead, he led 2 or 3 times and then cut across the face of the goal to get this, and then shaped up and come forward. He actually lost his Essendon defender 2 or 3 times on that. Couldn't go with him.
Leading goal scorer for the Blues last year with 56, just 13 this year. He's got another. And the Blues are out to a handy 17-point lead. Well, the last 4, Tommy, to the Blues. They're starting to look pretty comfortable. Garlett, Simpson, Waite and Walker, the goal scorers for the Blues as we approach quarter time.
Just see the approach in from Andrew Walker on this occasion. Gave himself a bit more room, struck it really sweetly and kicked the goal. Essendon's form and structure's really gone out the window since Dustin Fletcher came off. Haven't been able to get their hands near the ball. North stopped, Carlton marking the ball.
Watson down towards half forward. Carlton's 5-3, their best first quarter since round 3 against Collingwood. So the Blues up and about. The footy was held a long time.
Mick spoke off the top about bringing the danger of underdone players into this game. At the moment, Zacharakis has had 1 touch and Ryder's had 0. So that could play a big role in this game.
The Judds in the thick of the action and enjoying the view from a pretty handy vantage point. Ball kick now down towards Hurley at the front. A little kick back towards the line. It was Jetta. He rolled it forward and just to behind. Carlton's lead back to 16 points. And the Bombers with 1:44 to play, Hayne. They love to get one before the buzzer.
That's it. Hold there.
They need one before just to give themselves a little bit of confidence. They wouldn't like to be seeing Dustin Fletcher sitting on the bench this early in the game. He's such a tower of a man.
Well, Casbolt, Murphy ran, wanted the football. Ignored momentarily. Now to Waite. Strong hands, did well. Murphy ran again. Garlett's got a bit of speed. He's going to go back with Dempsey. Murphy's chosen this time. Long ball to Betts if he wants. Walker though. Little ball was on. Hooker taken high. Advantage will come back.
Free kick.
It's happened pretty quickly, hasn't it? Garlett kicked that goal at the 17-minute mark. Then Simpson at the 20. Waite at the 23. Walker at the 26. And 4 in a row. Sees the Bombers on the back foot. Early going, I know. Inboard to Lee, diving mark did well.
They do take risks through the corridor. That was a risky kick, especially this end of the quarter.
That's the first mark for the Bombers in 14 minutes. We heard Joe Watson during the week, Mick, saying they need to be braver with the ball. Move it on like they did earlier on in the year. Robinson squeezes the ball wide, and McLean, as we approach quarter time, settles things down for the Blues. You can see him.
Very dangerous kick to centre half forward, the 1-on-1.
Well, Diagon now, quickly to Simpson. Time for the Blues, you'd think. He's got a heap of space, Simpson. He can just continue on. Plenty of time to find a target inside 50. Waite is the long ball. Short they go. Casbolt, well, that's a disappointing result considering the clock and what was on offer long.
I just think Carlton need to probably, well, Essendon rather need to structure up a game. Because that loose player in defence for Carlton is absolutely cutting them apart at the moment.
Free kick, Essendon. He just went straight for it. He went straight for it. Time back on.
Not netball, he said.
No, it's football.
Hocking's free kick against McLean. Not time enough, you wouldn't think, for another goal. Jetta. And siren
Oh,
sounds.
let's give it something on here, I reckon. It's bound to overflow.
It seemed unnecessary, didn't it? Gibbs putting Hurley down after the siren had sounded, and now it's bubbling away. We've lost another jumper top.
Oh, they don't make him like they used to, Baz. Might need this, the Bombers. Just to get the emotion going that Kirky spoke about before the game, but an unnecessary hit there right on quarter time.
Yeah, strange thing for Gibbs to do. A couple of spot fires out there, still they wrestle. Umpires beginning to take control. One of the biggest men in sport coming up after this break, Andrew Bogut. A Bomber tragic and an NBA star, watching his Bombers on the back foot. Essendon 2-5-17, Carlton 5-3-33. Robinson's not done with yet. We're trying to get to the break. The Bombers are trying to get to the break. Carlton letting Essendon know that they're on the back foot. They've got a fight on their hands. 8th spot at the moment, the Bombers. Carlton refusing to lay down. Saturday afternoon footy, it doesn't get any better.
You're training with the Saints at the moment before your season starts in October?
Yeah, just not training actually with the Saints. They've been nice enough to lend me their facility to use an AlterG treadmill, and their facility out in Seaford is about 5 minutes from my personal facility, so it works out.
You've been doing any ruck work against Ben McAvoy?
No, I haven't done any on-field work. I'm still rehabbing the broken wheel here.
Appreciate your time, Andrew. The Bombers win this afternoon?
I hope so. It's going to be a tough game, though.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck in California this year.
No worries. Cheers.
Good on you, Haim. Terrific to see Andrew Bogut. Wonderful to have him at the footy. He was the #1 draft pick in the 2005 NBA draft. Carlton's Mark Murphy was the #1 draft pick in the 2005 AFL draft. They stand at considerably different heights. Here's Heppel involved, as we've said a couple of times, on the quarter-time siren. Gibbs the aggressor. And now Hocking sends it long down towards Paddy Ryder. To get them going, they needed that.
They certainly did need that. The start of that bounce, the Blues were able to orchestrate. Tui behind the ball, Yaron behind the ball, and even on this occasion you see Scotland getting himself in a position to potentially intercept the ball. So they're going to have to take marks like this, the Bombers, if they're going to get back into the game.
Well, this is Paddy Ryder's first touch for the afternoon, Mick.
Well, I'm not. Well, I say I'm surprised, but their players are coming back off injury, and they're just trying to get used to that tempo.
Just 15 goals for the year. That one bending back, but not enough, or is it enough? Yes, it was. It came back late. It's a goal. Terrific use of the conditions there. Started out to the right, bent back and kept coming. And the margin back to 10 points. A minute 37 for that action. And that's a confidence booster both for the Bombers and for Paddy Ryder. A goal with his first touch of the afternoon, his 16th for the season. 33 plays 23.
Good positive signs there for Paddy Ryder. Along with Crameri and Hurley, they've got genuine tall timber up forward that outsides their Carlton defenders. So that's the way that they're going to have to score their goals, the Bombers.
So Ryder back in after 5 on the sidelines.
Still trying to work this game structure out. Carlton have got plenty of players behind the ball. That's why they're able to set these runs up.
Yeah, and beautiful over the top this time. Simpson again. He's already kicked one this afternoon.
Whoever's behind me.
A lot of chat out there, isn't it?
Sure is. It seems the level is up a little.
No doubt.
Big game, umpires getting involved.
So Simpson to respond to the Ryder goal a minute ago. Hits it pretty well. Bombers fans are happy. Simpson, he's got a couple. Did I say Bombers fans are happy? They're really disappointed at this point in time. Blues fans are happy. Still got Andrew Bogut on my mind, the biggest Bombers fan I've ever seen.
Well, you'd reckon from the 2005 draft, Bogut to Murphy would be a pretty handy combination, I reckon.
What about that height differential, Home?
I'm 6'3" and felt 5'2".
Kade Simpson's got such a big work rate and he's working really hard today. He's got plenty of time and space. They need to start putting some more work into him. He's getting too much of the ball.
Just a right click and auto correction from me, Basil. Blues fans are happy.
Got it home, Carlton by 16 points, and so they should be. Their team showing a lot of fight, a lot of aggression. It's Lonergan in there. He's been in the thick of things on this ground against this team a few times this season. Simpson out to Curnow. Long one down towards full forward. Wait. Free kick and or mark. He's put himself in front yet again. That's good positioning, good use of the body.
Oh, he's been really good, Jared. What often happens when you have a long layoff, your first game back's okay, your second game you struggle a little bit, and then you start to get some momentum in your third game. And Jared Waite looks the most dangerous player on the field at the moment.
Playing his 152nd game today. Next week he'll equal his dad Vinny on 153 games. Vin, of course, won 2 flags, 1970 and 1972. Jared hasn't got those yet. A behind, not a great effort.
Without repeating myself too many times, I'm just staggered at the game structure at the moment. It's just giving Carlton real access to their goal mouth by having too many players behind the ball or not manning them up behind the ball.
Zaharakis to Brown, runs himself into trouble.
So, Mick, from an Essendon point of view, they're obviously pushing their half forwards up. Would you prefer to see Essendon forwards stay at home?
Well, I think one of them's starting on a wing and the other player's starting behind the ball. They've almost got 2 behind the ball at centre bounces. It's just it's an overkill to the point where the forwards then just struggle to get a one-on-one contest.
Lonergan, the quick kick was good to Hurley, and he's going to get 50.
And as you see them running it now, you'll see Scotland is only 15 metres, 20 metres out from goal. He's the loose player, and the Essendon boy is getting caught too far behind the ball, so Carlton can influence it. The Bombers are not influencing that contest.
So Zach Tui just getting caught up, was all happening pretty quickly. Ran through the man on the mark. Now Michael Hurley to make it an 11-point game, and he does. Watching the tapes from last week, he keeps the ball very low from his set shots. Did it last week, Mick, and again this afternoon as we see Zach Tui again just talking amongst his own. Do you think that's something that is deliberate or a natural thing?
Oh, no, it'd be natural. It'd be something that he would have been working on for some time.
Okay.
Just see the 50-metre penalty there. I think it's against Zach Tui for going across the mark, and they are damning penalties.
Last 2 Essendon goals in this game. Carlton have replied on the very next play, and here they go again, a chance to keep that record alive. It's a bouncing ball, might end up out of bounds, and I guess that's the end of the play, so it's not going to happen this time. Carlton 40, Essendon 29, the Blues by 11 points. And didn't get a chance to ask you, the Mitch Robinson hit on Jake Carlisle, what did you think, Tom? Is there a case to answer there?
Yeah, I think there is. Baz, the jumper punch constitutes a punch, so that'll be looked at for sure.
Gibbs to Robinson, and Robinson's kick was blanketed. That was well done by the man we speak of, Jake Carlisle, who was on the receiving end from that man in the quarter-time huddle. In fact, they hadn't really got to the quarter-time huddle. They were making their way there. Spiteful. Here's Murphy. Long kick down to Waite. Well done, Hooker, reaching over, and then got pushed over. And then goes again to Waite. Now Dempsey. Little slap from Jake Carlisle. Order restored. Throw in the pocket.
Cruiser, little slap down. Carazzo is the target. Stolen by Lee. Murphy just ends up with it. Watson did well. Just got a hand onto it. Couldn't take it cleanly the second time. McLean, he just lost his feet. Might have been assisted in losing them, but the play continues, and Hibbert, the man for the Bombers, goes to Ryder. He's got 2 Blues to beat. Digan, suited by the bounce, and loses his feet, places the ball on the ground, gets it again, dishes it off, tough in the end. And McGuinness just lost his way a little bit. In the end, the ball spills to Jetta, and Yaron sees him over, and Yaron will bring the Blues forward again.
Just great play there by Yaron. Didn't get bluffed by the sidestep by Jetta. Kept his body low. Went for the hips. Great tackle.
Hibbert kept it in, but Betts benefited by it. Gave it to Robertson. That is terrific. The Garlett plays on. Blues goal.
Any more forceful, and I will. That's why I let him come back at you. You pushed him, they pushed him. We call it quits, all right? Yeah, no worries. But just be careful. Okay.
McBurney and Waite just having a chat on a Saturday afternoon. Good goal from Garlett. Blues by 17.
Right, boys. Tommy.
This goal has come about not only the Robinson kick into Garlett who finishes off, it's because Hibbert brought the ball back into play when he could have just let the ball feel out, go over the line and start again. There's too many errors made by the Bombers at this stage.
And a tackle count always a terrific indicator of intent. And Carlton lead in that area of the game 24-16. Handball from Judd back to Tui. Long kick towards the 50, little wide out of bounds, but that'll suit the Blues as well. A chance to set it up again. And Waite, who's been up and about, he's kicked a couple of goals. He's looked lively. A real target.
Arms clear, eyes up!
Cruiser worked his way in front. Zaharakis, his kick was smothered. Simpson trying to get it out towards Carazzo. It got there eventually. Left foot around the body. It's a high one. Here's Waite again. He may have been held.
Back, Jared Waite.
We're seeing this often at the moment, Baz, with forwards, key forwards who start to really exert themselves on the game, win a lot of free kicks off the ball because the defenders have become too player conscious. They sort of cuddle and just sort of wrestle when the ball's away, and Jared Waite's got them all spooked at the moment.
Kicked a couple today already. Mentioned on his last set shot, which was a behind, that he'll equal his dad on 153 games next week. A father-son pick in 2001, and Dad will be proud of that one. What about that, Vinny?
He's played everywhere, Tommy, hasn't he, Jared Waite? But up forward, he's really useful for the Blues, really straighten them up again.
Yeah, I think that's where he plays his best footy. He played a lot of good footy across half-back for the Blues, but with Betts and Garlett, Waite provides the key focal point in contested situations. Just see the hole there. There's no doubt that's a free kick, and it comes about because Jared Waite's in good form at the moment, and the Essendon defender on that occasion was just too body conscious.
So Waite has 3, Blues lead by 23, and they go forward again. Hardingham lost his feet, got the ball, Betts, slap, brilliant, Walker, genius, Blues get another! Well, that was all pretty quick, and Eddie Betts just saw a man running to his left. The slap was terrific, and James Hurd has a long afternoon in front of him if things continue like they have in the last 25 minutes. Blood rule. Hibbert jogs towards the benches. Dustin Fletcher will take no further part in the game, and the Blues are out to 29.
Just see Garlett, Betts lurking around. They're starting to get their structures. That's what makes Betts so great. If he's not kicking goals, he's setting up, and that's mercurial talent. You can't teach that sort of stuff. And great to see the coach, Brett Ratton, having a laugh about it. He's enjoying watching his Blues put on a clinic at the moment.
Well, since Dustin Fletcher left the ground and now out of the game, Carlton have been inside 50 12 times for 8 goals. It's been a massive turning point in this game, and it is the Blues by 29 points. Armfield taken high.
Still moving in, play on!
Here goes Dennis. He plays on quickly. It was a wobbly old kick. Didn't come off the boot that cleanly. Didn't matter. Murphy long down towards the square. Long and strong towards the square and clears it for another. Carlton by 35 points.
Well, they're just dominating everywhere. First of all, the centre square, because the ball just comes out and just rolls inside the front 50, and they've got the speed, and the power, and also the quality to finish off, even though that was kicked from just on or just outside the front 50. On the other side of the coin, I'm watching Premry run from the forward line up to the wing, trying to get into the centre bounce. His whole game is built on inside 50, marking and kicking goals, and he's not in the front 50. So the Bombers are really playing a penalty for structure at the moment.
Well, the Blues...
Paddy Ryder, your kick. Paddy Ryder's kick.
Have kicked 3 goals from the last 5 kicks, so it's happening quickly for the Blues and too quickly for the Bombers' liking. Ryder, little under Jetta, gets around Simpson, ducks inside Judd. Now the long ball, who's on the end of it? Lonigan marks. The Bombers need a goal right now.
Much better by the Bombers on that occasion. At the start of that centre bounce, they've decided not to allow Carlton to have loose players and set up defensively with 1 or 2 players behind the ball. So the Bombers force decided, no, we're not going to allow 3 players there.
Well, they just must kick this, the Bombers. Nudging 6 goals the margin. It's back to 29 now. So against the flow, the Bombers get a free kick in the middle of the ground, ends up with a Bombers goal. So 3 goals from 5 kicks prior to all of that for the Blues. And Brett Ratton will be disappointed giving the free kick away, but very pleased with the last half hour from a Carlton standpoint.
Yeah, very good mark. Protected the football, turned his body at the right time, finished off very, very well. Needed a much needed goal. And I dare say by his celebration he understands the significance of it.
Cruiser and Ryder doing the ruck work now. Ryder got hands on it first and second time, but it doesn't clear the larger of the 2 centre circles. Away we go again. Terrific atmosphere. This is the sort of stuff that not only brings people to the football, but keeps them on the edge of their seats, and they certainly are this afternoon. Carlton backs against the wall. It's been a tough season for them, finding something late, and their skipper back in the team, providing some drive. Gibbs kick touched down towards Hardingham, who got there first ahead of Walker. Not a great handball for Jetta. Found it again on the bounce, back to Hardingham. He sends it towards half forward. Stanton pushed out of it by Curnow. No problem. Armfield at the back of the pack. Needed to control it cleanly and did, and goes out wide to the wing. Numbers were with Carlton. Bounce not good for Gibbs. Kick around the corner by Hardingham, and now Armfield. Bouncing ball in the middle. Cramery's done nicely to Brown. Here come the Bombers. They send it long again. Monfries with a fly. Umpire allowed it. Carried forward. White was the man pushing.
Geez, we'll get a good look at this one.
Not in the back.
That's the explanation from the umpire there.
Right next to him.
Well, he did land next to him, but he was still in his back.
In its own way, not dissimilar to the Carazzo incident with Lonigan in round 4.
Simpson, well, Watson did well again.
The Blues are dominating inside the contest this quarter. They're clearly winning the clearances and doubling in contested possessions. They want the ball more at the moment.
Watson again, just so desperate. Ryder, Cruiser. Ryder knocks it down. Judd there with Stanton, the 2-5s. Judd loses it, crashing through. Stanton's still there. Hurley was the one that did the bullocking work. Lonigan scored the last for the Bombers. Simpson, he can mop up, clean up, loses his feet. Desperate, Hocking, brilliant, holds it up. Simpson, he wins the ball back off to Armfield. Carazzo tackled by Watson. It's hot out there right now.
Well, they've gone even numbers in their forward line now, the Bombers. The Bombers fans not happy about it, so gives them a double advantage potentially. They've got even numbers when they kick it in, and if they bring the ball to ground, Carlton don't have the release player as well, so that's a good win by the Essendon forwards.
Dygan's kick a good one, finds Eddie Betts on half-back. He chips it up the line, and here's Curnow. That's what's in front of him. And the Bombers have done well. They've got back, filled the gap, so it'll have to be a long kick down the line. And that's what we've got to that contest there. Casbolt caught behind. He tried to work his way in front. Well done, Dempsey on the ground now. Casbolt into his side, I think. That's how the umpire saw it. We're going to have a bounce.
It's like some of the Essendon players really are standing and waiting for something to happen as opposed to making it happen. Even like Dempsey, who's been so significant over the last few weeks, he's just standing back and waiting.
Tough call, that one. Probably could have gone either way, but it's the Blues' day so far. Big fly at the back. Hardingham, no mark. Gee, got high. Just couldn't bring the ball down. Here's Melksham close to the line. He dropped that. Well, while we saw the replay of the Hardingham mark, you could hear the arguing and the umpire not standing for it. Luke Farmer bringing McLean back to the line. This will be Carlton's 11th goal. Carlton by 35 points, and just for the moment, Essendon have lost their focus.
Well, they have, and I don't think waving your arms around constitutes 50 metres, but that's the way they're interpreting it these days. But everywhere you look around the ground, Carlton seem to be able to get that extra number there. They're the first to spoil the football. They're marking better. Their foot passing is better. Look, I know it's early days, but the Bombers just seem to lack that energy that's required to win these big games. And they're trailing by 6 goals. It's a long haul back from here.
Have a look at the live ladder. Talk about congestion. The Blues just off the Bombers right now. Another goal or two will get our best men to do the numbers. We spoke about it pre-game. They can end up in the 8 depending on what happens. Fremantle and Richmond, the crucial clash as well. Judd quickly goes forward. Carlisle. Well, Casbolt was great. Carlisle, you thought, had to sit. Casbolt came late, got front spot, and the big man's taken a strong grab. Oh, this is turning into a very disappointing few moments for the Bombers.
It's probably not going to affect the result here. It would have been a goal anyway, but that's twice with Dempsey now. The umpire stated it pretty clearly. He's not going to tolerate that. I don't reckon James Hird would tolerate that either.
Casbolt sends it into the third deck, and the Blues are out to 41. And with all of that, the Blues have just jumped over the Bombers on the live ladder. It is a fascinating season, and the Bombers right now need to regroup and somehow claw their way back into this game, because the momentum has swung the way of the Blues again. And James Hird, he looks frustrated and despondent, but this game can swing again very quickly.
Casbolt's mark was the 7th mark inside 50 for Carlton, and each mark has resulted in goals. They're dominating in the air at the moment.
Murphy and Judd are the leading possession winners on the ground, and they are driving Carlton forward at every opportunity out of the midfield. And Robinson putting his body rather over the footy and almost winning a free kick.
Just exerting themselves physically on the contest at the moment, Baz. Contested possession, 66 to 50 in favour of the Blues.
Here is Murphy towards Gibbs. He got the handball out there. Gibbs, incidentally, the 3rd highest possession winner for the Blues, and they might have another opportunity here. Casbolt kicked the last goal. Could he kick one from the impossible angle? Impossible is nothing.
When you're hot, you're hot. Take a bow, Levi.
Was that a square up?
Oh, it's a goal. That's all that matters.
Oh.
Have a look at this here, Mick.
The Essendon backline have been traumatised. In all honesty, they just are not. They can't spoil it correctly. The recovery is poor, and when you can kick goals like that from right on the junction of the 50 and the boundary line, that's outstanding.
So back-to-back goals for Casbolt, and for all that, he has some water on the sidelines and some time on the pine. Since Dustin Fletcher, Mick and Tommy, has gone off, the Blues have gone inside 50 17 times, 12 goals 2.
Well, that's a statement in itself, isn't it?
The compelling numbers. Zaharakis quickly just fires on the left boot, front spot. Well done, Crameri.
just need a calming influence out there at the moment, the Bombers. And you do get the sense that if Dustin Fletcher was out there, they wouldn't be as leaky, but also they wouldn't have given away 2 50-metre penalties, which have resulted in goals. So need their leaders to stand up and stand up strong.
So Crameri to steady the ship just a little. Well done, Stuart Crameri. Bombers get one, and they needed that. Prior to that, the Blues had kicked 12 of the last 15 goals. And they've all come pretty quickly.
It's an amazing scoreline, isn't it, to half-time, or before half-time?
What do you do, Mick, right now? If you're in James Hurd's coach's box, you've got the assistants around you. What does the discussion sound like right now?
Well, with 7 minutes, well, still a fair bit to play in this quarter. You've got to stop the leaky boat.
Yep.
And defensively, I've said before, Carlton have got a +2 behind the ball, and what they're doing, they're just setting up there, outside of clearing it from the centre. If there's any quick clearance from Essendon, it goes forward. The Blues have got the numbers, and they just bring it back at will, and then they spot their target. So one-on-one football really for the next 7 minutes.
Just over 7 minutes to play in this opening half, a half dominated by Carlton. So a whistle, it's going Essendon's way. It's Stanton. Can the Bombers get back-to-back goals? He drives it long. Big kick, big fly at the back. Lonergan couldn't mark. The ball hits the deck. Murphy there to mop up. Dangerous little floating handball. Kick comes away. McInnes towards defensive 50. There was an arm in there from Heppel. He might have had enough on it to actually get it over the line, and that might be deliberate. Good call by umpire Farmer. Heppel was right there, and there was no other intention by Armfield other than to slap it out. Crameri this time close to the line, and Yaron walks it over.
Well, it was a good call by the umpire, and we hear it here. His interpretation was you've got to keep it in. The rule actually is don't intentionally take it out, so there was a slight little tweak there. Good decision, though.
He's got a rugby background. I wonder if he was getting confused.
And a great mo.
Hibbert, short ball. Won't find his man. Robinson just drifts back. Return from injury is a blonde.
At the moment, the Bombers can't win the ball at the coalface. They're 14-3 in clearances. So Carlton are dominating that area.
Thanks, Kirky. McInnes to Dygan, one of the two-ins for the Blues this afternoon.
And this is where the loose player for Carlton will come into his boom, because the loose player for Essendon is Paddy Ryder. He's 70 metres, 80 metres off the ball. Not influencing it one little bit.
So Armfield just goes searching long. Cruiser amongst a heap of Bombers. Through it goes out the back. Hocking did well, took on Wade. He'll get the free kick.
If you're going to allow the opposition to have a loose man, it means that you're going to have one also.
Well, there's the afternoon so far for the Bombers. Hocking to hooker, and then out of bounds on the full without pressure on the kicker.
I think it's important that your loose man pushes right up and takes the ball off the opposition at the earliest point. No good waiting for Carlton in this case to just run the ball uncontested and hope you intercept the ball deep in your defence.
So McLean gave it to Yaron. He'll get it back again. Some noise out there, isn't there? Crowd, umpire. Plenty of chat this afternoon. So much to play for. We'll keep updating you with the live ladder. Over the top, Caracho, a bit hot for him. Tui tackled by Heppel, puts the pressure on Lee. Heap of support too. Tui rolls on. Umpire says okay.
It's a great atmosphere.
A lot's been said about Essendon's kicking. They're kicking below 60% at the moment, with Watson and Stanton only kicking at 35.
Tui trying to bring the ball into the corridor. Unnecessary risk for the Blues at the moment. They're leading. They've got it all going their way. Just play the percentages. Carazzo out to Judd. The champ goes with a low flat one, and Walker marks. Carlton by 40 points. 4.5 to play in the second term, and there's a push out there. Levi Casbolt getting involved. Just his 5th game of senior football. He's kicked 2, got the free kick there, and there's Eddie. Short's very low, it's got to be said as well. Called to go. He might trip over the shorts, or he might kick a goal.
Starting to get that swagger back, the Blues, at the moment. Eddie Betts, this is a terrific mark. We know how good a player he is around the goals, but just watch here. This is the free kick actually there, the push on Casbolt from Carlisle, but the ball comes in, just checks Hardingham right there, bang, gets to the, that's a great contested mark. And he did almost trip over his shorts, but that's all right.
They are very low. Shorts lower than Dennis Cometti's voice there. Carlton by 46 points.
Forget Dennis, they're lower than Stephen Kernahan's.
I'm sure he'll stand by his man, if you know what I mean, with sticks.
What a quarter from the Blues. We've still got 4 minutes and change to play. Haven't they had a good last month and a half? 4 from the last 6 and in control right now. The Bombers zone through Ryder.
Too late, Jared, after the contest.
Okay.
Cop that.
They are very vocal this afternoon. The umpires. Well, from one free kick to another. This time Carazzo favoured by the umpire's whistle. McLean. That's the target, and he is found. Eddie Betts now just starts to lead. Ignored. Long ball. Cruiser a bit of tall timber. So too. Wade and Walker. Off hands Garlett. Little one quickly into Robinson. And a ricochet.
It's almost like every time it goes in the front 50, you almost expect the Blues to score, because the back line at Essendon is very reactionary at the moment. It's looking at their player first before the ball. They're really nervous about every ball that comes in.
Casbolt had the match of his career so far. Hasn't missed since his inclusion. So far he's 3 wins from 4 outings. Maybe the good luck charm for the Blues. Things have turned around, and James Hird started the season 8-1. It's been slim pickings, it must be said, since then.
McLean hit the ground running. And he couldn't get out of there, as the umpire explained. Umpire, or is it headmaster Stephen McBurney this afternoon? They have been very direct to the players, trying to keep order, and I guess that is good umpiring, given the spot fires that we saw at the quarter-time break. Staying right on top of it. Carazzo taken high? No. And we're going to have another bounce inside 50 as the push and shove breaks out yet again. Couldn't afford another Carlton jumper torn, could we? Now going to run out at some point. Here's Carazzo. Throws it onto the boot, sends it long. Well done by the defence. It was against Walker, the free kick.
No score, Mark.
So you heard the umpire explain Carlisle's free, and Judd goes up almost a rare high mark above his head.
Umpire Schmidt getting involved now. Gibbs runs to 55. Long ball won't be accurate enough, nor have the distance. Walker flies. In the end, it's just going to be a foot race. Can Robinson keep it in? He can. Just sneaks it back to Garlett. Now to Carazzo, and he steps over. I don't know whether Walker brought up the mark he took on Carlisle's head, but altercation between the two regardless. Cruiser just went underneath it. Bell Chambers was there. Jetta tried to find Watson, missed him, finds Lonigan now. Quick kick to the wing, all Blues though. Running back, bounce suits Casbolt, just gets inside Crammer. He's starting to warm into his AFL career. Casbolt to Scotland and back to Gibbs. A quarter utterly dominated by the Blues. 9 goals won so far. They look to press again here. Now to Yaron, just glides through the MCG. A bounce, looks up. Brock McLean is found. Well, he's been called once this year as too far out to score, and that was an unbelievable goal against the Tigers, which in many ways kept him in the hunt in season 2012. This time he looks for Cruiser, misses him. Ball stays inside 50, and the Blues continue to press. And Brett Ratton, well, he won't have had too many more pleasant quarters to watch than this.
Thrown in inside 50 again. The Blues looking so dangerous. It's a hot footy to win in there. In the end, the second gamer got his hands on it cleanly. That was Brendan Lee. Still they wrestle. Carazzo in and amongst it.
Mark Murphy's had a big first half. He's had 15 possessions, 11 of those are contested, which is really big numbers.
Bomber at the back and James Hird in the front. They wouldn't be happy at all with what they've seen. 9 goals in this term by the Blues. A clearing kick towards the middle of the ground, and Gibbs in familiar territory. Look at that kick, fantastic. Onto the chest of Simpson. He plays on quickly. He's got a man free. It is Brock McLean, and Brock can go back and kick for Carlton's 10th of the quarter.
Yes, and you'll probably, if there was a shot taken above the ground here, you would have seen about 8 or 9 Essendon players caught between the goal square and the 3 players of Carlton who ran out, and any one of those 3 could have marked that football. Gibbs marked that football unopposed in the centre of the ground because he was at +1.
Essendon have kicked 4 goals in this term, and with the clock counting down towards the half-time siren, Brock McLean kicking for a perfect 10 for the term. He threads it through. Carlton by 52 points and keeping their top 8 chances well and truly alive.
They're playing irresistible football at the moment, the Blues. Bryce Gibbs setting up across half-back and just loose men everywhere. Too easy to play against at the moment, the Bombers. What we're seeing is the real injury concerns that the Blues had in the middle part of the year now starting to get some personnel back, and they're starting to play pretty impressive footy. Certainly desperate stuff, season on the line from both clubs, but Carlton with all the answers at the moment.
I know we can go overboard, Tommy, with statistics, but these two sides have played 948 quarters against each other. This quarter, for scoring, is in the top 5 for the Blues. They have dominated Essendon. 10 goals won, seconds remaining. Can they add to that? Well, maybe. Hibbert couldn't take it cleanly. Wait, the tackle. Essendon. The siren could not come quickly enough. The Blues having a quarter to savour. 10 goals won, and they lead it by 52 at half-time.
Well done by the umps. They got involved there, made their presence felt. That is our half-time scoreline.
To half-time, you say, well, what's the back half doing? They're getting slaughtered in the centre, but they need some security back there, and they just haven't got it now. It's a shame.
Essendon have lost their last 4, and they've lost 5 of the last 6. Have they got something left? Well, maybe this will help kickstart them. Jobe Watson, Brownlow medal favourite, coming into round 21 with the first kick of the second half, and he sends it long towards half-forward. Cremery caught behind. Stanton gathered the football, keeps running, sends it back. Fast start for the Bombers. That's more like it. The goal inside 20 seconds, and the margin back to 46 points. A free kick in the middle, and then Cremery played this pretty well. He was caught behind, he brought the ball to ground, and well, Stanton, they've missed him over the last couple of weeks out of the team, and that's the sort of run and finish he's capable of.
Yes, the polished Baz, I think that's exactly what Brett Stanton brings. He can run all day, so it's going to be important that they get a couple of early goals here. Essendon still enough time to obviously get back into the game, but that's an outstanding finish and good start for the Bombers in the second half.
Brett Stanton had 36 disposals and kicked a goal when they last met in round 4, but things much different than they were back early in the season.
So the momentum and the flow and the impetus all with the Blues in the second term. Can the Bombers manufacture something here? Jetta wrapped up. Going to be hard to go anywhere amongst all of that.
Well, there's a lot of players from Essendon who can lift. I think there's about 10 players who've had less than 7 possessions, so there's a lot of room for improvement. If they can just get some of those players up, I don't know if they'll get back in the game, but they certainly won't be embarrassed by the scoreline.
So Watson having that well-documented fabulous year. Watson Inc. a very healthy company right now. He goes forward, big fly over the top was Ryder, couldn't take it. Murphy got taken high. He'll send the Blues forward again. 10 goals won if you just joined us to the Blues in that second term, and they extended the 16-point margin to 52. Dustin Fletcher off for the rest of the afternoon, as Brett Kirk told us. The Doctor, and he'll take no further part in the afternoon, perhaps the season. We will keep you updated as we hear more. Quickly back to McGuinness, and the Blues suddenly have a season that might end up playing football in September.
predominantly a one-on-one game at the moment. If you scan the field, you'll see one-on-one matchups everywhere. So if Carlton get off the chain here, that means the Essendon players haven't worked hard enough to defend the lead.
Simon White with a long one. It was marked. Well, play on it loud. So that's incredible. Eddie Betts just cruised by and stole it after Belchambers was awarded the mark and then handballed, or tried to a teammate. And what about the finish? Gee, they got lucky there, but Simpson, right place, the kick terrific, and they'll go back and shoot on goal. That was extraordinary.
Well, we're just watching it here. It's well, he's been picked off, and I thought at one moment there it may well have been just come out of his hands, but he had full intent to hand pass that.
So Cade Simpson to give them the half-time lead back. It was 52 points at the long break. Simpson on the runway now. He opens up the angle a little, and that wasn't a great effort from there. Behind.
This will be a good test here for the Bombers. The first two forays went from the centre. This is coming from the back half now. This will be the test of whether they can actually work that +1 number, which they should have an advantage in front of the ball, and then Carlton are dropping players back.
It's kick 2 today, Simpson, his first blemish there.
Heppel with the Bombers trailing by 47, just trying to find targets. Ryder this time, short, well, over the top, and Zaharakis couldn't handle the football. It's been a messy afternoon for the Bombers. They've got the first of the third. James Hird has got so much to think about, not only for the last 3 rounds and perhaps a final or 2, but beyond. How to manage this list, which has had such a wretched run of injuries. 31 games lost from the top 10 of last year's best and fairest for James Hird. Hard to win matches. Well done, Hooker. Quickly they go now, the Bombers. Dempsey through to half-back. Too hot for Lee, too hot for Simpson. It'll work out for Heppel. He dishes it back to Lee. He's got Davey on his bike. It's going to go in that direction. Davey, well, put it down. Yaron put the pressure on. Davey lost the football, then just quickly hurried the ball forward, but Scotland is there. It's all Blues. He's got a heap of time to think about options. In no rush, over the top. Little one to Simpson, in turn to Murphy. Normally finds a target. He'll do so this time too to Walker.
Still can't work out, Tom, where Scotland is playing as a wing back, just regularly mops up. The Bombers choosing to still keep that player in the middle of the ground. Carlton going over the top of him at the moment.
I think Scotland's just making better decisions. I reckon his direct opponent at the stage is Davey, I reckon, and just making the defensive move to swing across half-back, just letting him go.
So Cruiser just moved around on the mark. Short ball to Yaron. Crowded inside 50 for the moment. And now over the top. The option is Garlett. Wade is there too. Boundary line beats. All concerned in that passage of play. So the Blues, if you've joined us, dominated the second term, and right now they enjoy a 47-point lead. Great atmosphere on a Saturday afternoon.
Cruiser and Belchambers to do the rub work. Belchambers down in front. Watson was tackled as he got the football. Couldn't get rid of it.
I've got an update on Fletcher. At halftime we've learned it's more of a hip flexor injury. So that could be a good thing that he hasn't aggravated an old injury.
Well, that is good news on the basis that the old injury hasn't flared up.
Belchambers again. He got his hand to it. Robinson knocked over off the footy. It came out Dempsey's way. Got a little handball away to Belchambers. Didn't get any real distance on it. Brown was in there fighting for the footy. Lost it. And we're going to have another bounce inside 50.
What this ball to be cleared. Essendon have got to really go wide to actually clear it from that kick.
Well, it comes out Murphy's way. Clever handball in front of himself. Got away from Hocking. Then got the football the second time to Judd. Handball up in the air. Stolen by Hocking. Close one to the line. Watson combining with Dempsey. His kick towards the wing. A clever little paddle in there. Out in the Zaharakis direction. He's got White to beat. Hurley the paddler. Paddled again. Nicely done. Close to the line. Handball inside, not a good one that time. Jetta wrapped up by Armfield, has to be holding the ball.
We had nowhere to go, Baz. Hurley was looking for a forward option, but really would have kicked it straight down the breadbasket of Heath Scotland patrolling across half-back.
Garlett, hands and knees, desperate for the football. Equally so, Hooker did well. Now to Dempsey on a bit of a burst, takes a bounce. Casbolt the chaser. Casbolt closes. Outstanding from Casbolt. He's had a big afternoon. Simpson, Robinson deserves a goal. Over the top weight. How will this settle? Banana ball. Oh, this is just fabulous from the Blues. Casbolt started it. Garlett finishes it. Well, Mick Levi, Casbolt sums up a desperate Blues.
What it sums up is the fact that no matter what Essendon do when they come out of the back line under pressure, they don't have a set target. Because every time they look up, Carlton have an extra player roaming across the half-forward line or Essendon's half-forward line. And what it does, it confuses the Essendon players to not kick it to a 1-on-2. So they try to carry the ball a bit further, and hence they get caught like that. It was a wonderful chaser.
3 goals for Garlett. His career high 6 against Essendon, round 19, 2010. And he's on that sort of pace this afternoon. Bell Chambers, beautifully done. He knocked it down the throat of Brendan Lee. Handball out for Zaharakis, and that's better to Cramery. There's a strong mark outside 50. Sends it long down towards the square. Ryder. Yaron got up high. Strong fist. Well, strong attempt to fist. I'm not sure how much contact he made with the footy. And Scotland just escorting it over the line. Only has eyes for Dennis, that young lady.
Committee?
No, Dennis Armfield, number 27. Going to be excited though. Here's McLean working his way through. Did that nicely to Scotland. Wants to go to Judd. He was very Judd conscious there actually. And the ball over the line. Maybe the kick was the better option.
Oh, I've no doubt about that. When Chris Judd's on the ground, there is a tendency to find out where the captain is because he's such a great breaker of the line. So they try to get to someone with pace.
Oh, clever over the top. Bell Chambers, Melksham offline. Would have been a really nice piece of play. The Bombers desperate for some sort of scoreboard pressure in this third term after the Blues did a real job on them in the second. 10 goals won the Blues in that second term, and they put a bit of a space in the Bombers. The Bombers need to find a way back into this match. Dygan, he and Judd both into the side this weekend. Short ball to Curnow. Here's half a chance. What can Ryder do? Clever slap to Jetta. Talk about Chris Judd. And longevity is a key measurement of sporting greatness. And Chris Judd, Mick and Tom gets a big tick. He's been so good for so long.
I've got a funny feeling he may well have played his first game against West Coast many years ago now, and he's stayed at that standard, hasn't he? He's always been one of the hardest players to tag. He's carries the football so well, uses the ball so well.
Did it again there, gave it to Gibbs. Gibbs into the middle it goes, bouncing ball. Zaharakis, ferocious in the end. Robinson dived at the ball, went head high. Advantage called though. Heppel quickly in the Hurley direction. A couple of youngsters trying to combine for the Blues. McGuinness for the Bombers, McGuinness for the Blues. Now a disputed ball. Cramery, Walker, desperate. Tui's got up and got wrapped up at the same time.
We've spoken a lot today about Essendon's inability to find a target going forward. Here's a wide shot here. Courtney Dempsey getting tackled. Just see at the top of the screen there, Heath Scotland. So Dempsey's looking up, looking for somewhere to go. Visual pressure. They need to sort that out, the Bombers.
Well, Cruiser this time casting the role of Rover, does well, hurries it into the middle. Hooker, terrific. They need something now. Dempsey goes short. Well, in the end, it was all right from Zaharakis because it was destined for McLean, but the Blues again have got the numbers. And here comes Eddie. Will he back himself with pace? Not this time. They get back desperately. Garlett's the man in the end. A fingertip onto it by Hardingham, and the Bombers will get out of trouble this time. It looked ominous.
A kick out wide, and it was a good one for Heppel to Zaharakis. Player down. You saw it in the corner of your screen. Another one down. Scotland gets to his feet quickly. Armfield now, handball for Dygan. There was a whistle, play allowed to go on. Scotland full of running, out of half back, and the kick is good for Gibbs. He looks upfield, he's got Garlett breaking for him. Kick is absolutely perfect, and Garlett wraps it up on his chest and will go back and kick for goal number 4.
See Monfries here just landing on his shoulders. He'll be a bit sore across the chest. But Carlton really starting to get that look about them which they had earlier in the year. A bit like the old Pagans paddock, but with the little fellas in Garland and Betts. Just get the ball over the top into space, use their speed. And the most impressive thing about the Blues today has been just the way and the efficiency with which they've used the ball.
All of the players out there, only Eddie Betts has kicked more goals this season for the Blues than Garlett, and he's offline that time. Just to behind the margin, 54 points, a couple of let-offs for the Bombers. The margin was 52 points at half-time.
Had it marked in, Basil, from there. The way he got that football in the first place was just beautifully in behind Dempsey. Dempsey is a good player when the ball's running forward. He does struggle when the ball turns the other way and he has to play hard football on a one-on-one opponent.
Casbolt so strong again, hasn't he? Been sensational this afternoon. The Bombers will just work it, hopefully, to the outer side and find their target in Heppel. It's a bouncing ball, just drifting in his Melksham. Now to Heppel, back to Melksham. The Bombers, they need to mount something now. They've got a 9-goal game going the wrong way for them. Crameri, short ball, Hurley. Well, second grab almost, and the third almost in the feet, but Murphy just holds it up for the moment. Underneath it all is Monfries. Levi Casbolt, he's had a big afternoon, hasn't he?
He has. In Hurley's defence, Hurley has been in this position probably 3 or 4 times today where the ball has just gone too far over his head. There's been no kindness to him whatsoever from a teammate.
Well, this time Bell Chambers tries something that had a high degree of difficulty.
Another player Hamish has had a big afternoon is Bryce Gibbs. He's up to 20 possessions and a 95% efficiency rating. So he uses it so well.
Good on you, Kirky. That's a funny one there. Bell Chambers arguing that he was out of bounds when he kicked it, but if he was out of bounds, then why did he kick it? He'd beaten himself with the argument, Tom.
He's not doing his fellow ruckman any favours in trying to outsmart the umpires or their opponents.
McLean to McInnes, and now Yaron in the back pocket. He carries it beyond the 50. Keeps going, why not? Fourth bounce. He could have a fifth here. He's been herded into the line, and in the end he did run out of space and almost ran out of ideas. He's going to come off, not because he ran out of ideas. He was coming off anyway. Judd on, and we're going to have a boundary throw in. In fact, we've got a free kick.
Ran too far.
Watson, gee, I don't know about that, over to Jetta. I'm not saying you were wrong, Mick. I'm sure that was the right interpretation, but I'm not sure if it was the right call by the umpire, and the ball is onto the chest of Paddy Ryder.
Generally a good kick, Paddy, from any angle. He really is. He caresses the football generally. I don't put the moz on him, but it's a very, very good, clean system when he runs in.
They've missed his output this season. 27 goals last year. Just 15 for the season before today. Ryder trying to kick-start something again for the Bombers. Too skinny.
Hasn't played. Essendon boys who are struggling are the ones that have come back into the side. They just haven't been able to get that rhythm. And they're really tonguing it too, because Carlton have run very, very well. They've constantly found the loose player.
Well, talking of loose players, one is picked out, Dyson Heppel. Mick talking about Stanton, Zaharakis, Hooker and Ryder as the Bombers that have come in. Ryder sits underneath it all now. Yaron just tries to paddle it forward. Here's a chance for Davey to get a foot on it. Touch.
I've spoken a couple of times, Mick, about the Essendon players just looking a little bit hesitant. This contest here was exactly that, not the ball on the deck, but when the ball came in long, it just seemed the Carlton players just look more assured about themselves when they're going to the ball.
Yeah, instead of even nominating one player to go for it and just cover the ground so that if it does spill, but there seems to be lack of talk at the stage.
Scotland kicks in. Oh, that's a good mark by White from Subiaco in the WAFL. His 15th match in 3 seasons. Scotty Waters, current St Kilda coach, was his mentor at Subiaco with the Lions. Kick to Armfield. Out wide, and Murphy's away. Now he looks upfield. McLean is breaking, so is Garlett. McLean or Garlett in the end, maybe it was better off being left for the second man. Didn't matter. He went back and found the footy. Kicks towards Waite. Clever handball to McLean. He snaps and kicks a wonderful goal. How about that from the Blues? Carlton's lead 58 points, approaching the magical 10 goals. And, well, there's something in that contest just further illustrating the point of today. There was 2 of them that could have grabbed it. And in the end, even though they had the error, they worked it out between the 2 of them. And no surprise that James Hird looking on forlornly.
just getting the ball in. Again, Waite with his ability to be able to get over the football, get it off to McLean. McLean finishes very well, but it was the ability of Waite to bend. He's so much looked at as a marking player, but his ground ball is just as effective.
Tommy, Brock McLean was on the scrap heap, in his own words, earlier in the year. 3 goals this afternoon, been useful.
Well, it's great to see him still stay on the side with the prime movers coming back in Judd and Murphy, because he was the one player when it was a pretty dark place down at Fizzy Park, but he kept going and he's still contributing again now. He's up to 16 disposals, 3 goals. Very, very worthwhile contribution.
3 players with 3 goals this afternoon for the Blues. Waite, Garlett and McLean, and they're all involved in that last one.
Well, Waite again. This time Casbolt just speeds inside the forward 50 for the Blues. Waite gets held up and then Casbolt doubles back. He might be on the end of this again. Got hands onto it. Big spill. Advantage called. Walker, short ball to Judd. He got there. Will he play on? No, he just takes his time and measures things up. Gibbs pleading for the ball long as an issue down.
Carlisle's in all sorts here.
It's the left ankle. Is it on?
This is when he's just trying to take off. Just couldn't get any purchase to launch at the footy.
Slipped.
Yeah, oh, just his ankle there. His left ankle just slipped. He's got the long stops on, but left ankle.
Well, Essendon's season has been ravaged with injury. It's been well documented, and it looks like there's another that's about to go into the repair shop. Jake Carlisle in the hands of the trainers. He hasn't moved. It's obviously a serious left ankle.
You get a good look at it just as he planted his left foot to launch at the footy. Slipped, gave way, rolled over. He's in a lot of pain.
So the umpires have wisely decided to hold play just for the moment. The Bombers kick in coming from full back, and they're taking all the weight off that, which is sensible.
You talk about their run with injuries this year. Of the top 10 in last year's best and fairest, 9 have missed. Only Watson hasn't missed with a soft tissue this year. They've lost 31 games throughout the year through the soft tissues, and now Carlisle with the ankle.
Stanton then with a long kick in, and Ryder, strong mark. He's taken a couple now in the game. Dishes a quick handball onto Hooker. White in best position here, and he takes a clever mark on his chest. He looks into midfield. McLean was the target. It bounced away from Zaharakis. Oh, everything's going well for the veteran Brock McLean. Over to Simpson, and the kick to Garlett to line up for number 4. Exciting play by the Blues.
I think it might have been Zaharakis in the middle that just totally overrun the football, and that's really a matter of just hasn't played a lot of football, misses the bounce, misses the intensity at the football. And now we find Garlett.
Well, according to Hamish's live ladder, Mick, if Garlett kicks this, they will be in the 8 as the ball sails through. It's not a goal, so as it stands, they're just outside of the 8. Still on percentage.
Geez, it was good hands there by Brock McLean in the middle of the ground. He really has turned his career around in this second half of the year for the Blues. He's got the ball out in space to Simpson. Really, really smart play.
So Dempsey now with the responsibility of finding a Bombers jumper. Hooker front spot, took the grab. Such a big weekend of football. This game, Fremantle, Richmond. Tonight, Collingwood and North Melbourne. Tomorrow, Sydney must win against the Dogs. Robinson desperate. The opposite number 12, Cremery, put the pressure on. Digan to Judd. 2 of the Blues in this weekend. Long ball. Walker the target. Jeffy at the fall of the ball. And here comes Waite around the corner. And Waite's got 4. And the Blues are on this afternoon. Waite has 4, the Blues have 18. And it's still not three-quarter time. 21 down in this term, 10 goals in the second term. James Hird looks on, and he is out of ideas.
So here's a look at the live ladder, and well, joy for Carlton fans. The way they're going right at this moment, remembering, of course, Mick, that Fremantle yet to play this afternoon, but right now, as it stands, they're sitting in 8th position. If Freo lose, they'll stay there and be in the 8 tonight.
Yeah, and their draw is pretty kind. I think they've got Gold Coast next week, and I think it's Sydney, St Kilda in the last game. So destiny may well be in their own hands. That's the way you want it coming to the finals.
Richmond playing Fremantle at Patterson Stadium. That's the other game then of interest in helping to decide the makeup of this top 8. McInnes carried forward, no free kick, slapped forward by Davey. McLean's been in everything. The 2-14s went hard at it. Lonergan, White came through. Tui left the footy behind, going in again. White in there, he left it behind also. Now Carazzo found some space, handball in the cruiser direction. Oh, that was a clever paddle. He did that nicely to Eddie Betts. Now Tui, he got a kick forward. They just refused to give in there, and eventually Yaron across to Carazzo. A long one down towards full forward. Well done, Hooker. Got a fist in there, knocked it out of Waite's grasp.
Brown, Zaharakis, little one, Dempsey, Watson, advantage called, play on. Little one over the top, ugly sort of a ball from Watson, spills to Curnow.
Watson's disposal today has been less than what we expect, particularly the way he's played over the last all year. It's been so fantastic.
Scotland, left or right, doesn't matter too often, and this time he finds Walker on the left. Walker back to Scotland. Fine, Angus.
I want to confirm that Carlisle, it is a left ankle. He's gone downstairs on crutches, and they'll be checking whether it's a break or a ligament damage. It looks pretty serious. I doubt he'll take any further part.
Thanks, Kirky. So Fletcher off in the first term, Carlisle now, and they're running low on the bench. Short ball. McLean is found. Armfield screaming for the football. Short ball. Eddie Betts ends up with it.
That's good hands by Eddie Betts.
Fantastic hands. I don't know if it's gone 15 metres, but he played because of the hands. It's just terrific.
It's a good grab there. Just watch the hands here. It's a spearing pass in by Brock McLean, but this is the hardest mark going around at full tilt. Someone on your hammer.
Wearing knickerbockers.
What do you think Warwick Capper would say about Eddie Betts' shorts?
You wouldn't be allowed on the end of season trip. So Betts to add to this 11-goal lead. Skips in, has one for the afternoon, has two now. It's just been a very pleasant afternoon if you're a Blues fan. They led by 16 points at quarter time, 10 goals in that second term. And it continues now. They led by 52 at half time, out to 72 now. And Eddie Betts and Chris Yaron just discuss the way of the afternoon on the bench. Both in full flight, as exciting as any AFL players.
Really running back into some red-hot form at the moment, the Blues, and you've got to say that they've got two very winnable games. So, as Mick Malthouse touched on just moments before, their destiny's certainly in their own hands.
Eddie Betts up to 45 goals for the season. He kicked 50 last year, his only 50-plus goal season in 8 in the comp. And he might be on track for 2 here. Long kick from the Blues forward. Simpson, beautiful to Murphy, who runs. The back of the boots blue, the front of the boots white. He kicks long to the hot spot. Levi's got it. Levi Casbolt judged it well. He had a fair bit of work to do. He needed to keep his eyes on the ball there, Tom.
Just have a look at that. That's where Essendon it's almost like that's happened all day. Is that was a hand pass given to a player who technically you would expect an Essendon player to be running past and taking that, but it was a Carlton player. Numbers everywhere.
Casbolt's kicked a couple today, so kicking at his 3rd. This is his 5th game of senior football. What an impact he's made from virtually directly in front. 35 metres, and there's been a couple of blemishes in this 3rd term. And we know how important percentage is. Obviously, we keep looking at the live ladder and we can see just the decimal points in play, so they really do need to finish off.
Lee quickly, Melksham the target, Scotland there, did well the old veteran, the bounce though favoured Melksham, quick one to Cranberry, he's set upon by Blues, they're desperate this afternoon, Stanton, Casbolt, Judd, back to Tui, just buys some time. Well, the Irishman just danced around then and did pretty well. Now Betts has got a couple to beat, and one of them in Hardingham gets the better of Betts on this occasion. What we do know is the Blues will be playing football in September. Round 23 they play Collingwood. They'd like to go deeper. They're making a good fist of it this afternoon. Did I say the Blues or Essendon? Essendon are playing Collingwood in September. So it's all got pretty dark this afternoon for the Bombers. And how, Mick, do they turn anything around this afternoon?
Well, I don't know whether they can actually turn it around this afternoon outside of just its credibility, but nonetheless, whichever way it is, they've got. There's a typical one that happens when you lose your confidence. These are the things that happen. A normal chess mark goes to ground. But if they can just hold their own between now and the end of the quarter, it does give them a little bit of hope. But the way the Blues are running, it's hard to see that.
Hocking then played on quickly. Murphy was there, got in his road, sort of prevented the run. Taken high, Davey, no free. Carazzo, and then Tui goes. Is that in danger?
Dangerous kick, likely to cause injury.
For GAA, isn't it? Gaelic footy. Just kick it wherever it is.
But that's a haymaker.
I think it'd be fine back home. Well, that's almost an Irish term, isn't it? Yeah, it could have caused some real serious damage. Yeah. And I think that's the interpretation. A kick that could, well, an act that could cause injury. And that certainly was that. So Hocking, it's a terrible kick, never gave it a chance. And in fact, it's out of bounds on the full. Essendon a 7-8. So they've kicked just 1 goal, 2 in this third term. It's the MCG to finish with for the Bombers, the last 3. Next week against Richmond, who play Fremantle, of course, today, and then Collingwood to finish it off. So it's not going to get any easier. They're every chance, you would think, to possibly drop their last 6.
The Blues, though, going well. Dygan, little under two. He's got some pace. Ryder's doing the chasing. Walker and Betts further afield. Long ball now. Is it going to go all the way to Betts? It's going to work out pretty well. And Betts goes backwards. Little wonder Walker onto the left. Well, it just continues to roll on. Lygon Street will be jumping around. The Blues own the MCG this afternoon. We're going to speak to Brett Ratton on the other side of the break, and at 3/4 time, surely he is a pleased Carlton coach.
I should say, with their players coming back, Judd's back, Murphy's back, Waite's back, and it's just a totally different look for the Blues.
Well, the Blues, they've been dominant today all day. From the first bounce, every contest they've played with a huge amount of desire. This time it's the Bombers that win it and they push it forward. Dygan one hand, went back and got it, tries to give it off, does pretty well in the end. And the Blues, they'll come through. They've been good all day at half-back, and this time they drive it forward again. And White's the kicker, and series of handballs ends up with Cruiser looping it over the top to Murphy. Judd just cruises by, ignored Simpson the target. Garlett and Casbolt both deep inside 50, lurking by himself at the moment. His Betts dropping back, doing a good job. Watson, Robinson tries to crash through. Watson just holds him up.
Got an update on Carlisle. He's up on the bench now, but his foot's in a splint, so there's no way he'll take any further part in today's proceedings.
See Tom Bell there. He's the player who's come on from Andrew Carazzo. He's been really good since he's come into the Carlton side. Provides a bit of grunt, good size.
The fist from Robinson ended up with Hocking, little one to Hibberd, and then to Lonigan, Watson. They work it around. This time the target's missed again by Jobe, and Simpson just picks up the scrappy ball, gives it to Murphy onto the favoured left boot. Downtown, Casbolt sets himself again. He's arrived at the MCG this afternoon.
I like the way the Carlton players are really spreading. When they do spread, they split the Essendon defence. And it gives them a much better chance to have a one-on-one contest, even if it's even in the air from a long kick in. Very impressive for the Blues.
It was 4 goals from his 4 games in his AFL career. He's trying for 3. And it starts in the middle, drifts and hangs on long enough. The injuries forced Brett Ratton to play Levi Casbolt in the end, Mick, and they've unearthed another big man, as they have with the man Tom Harley was talking about, and that's Tom Bell.
And those things happen when you throw it to a kid He grabs the opportunity, because sometimes that level doesn't quite work out for you. In the seconds I'm talking about, and you come up and it's all of a sudden just changes.
Levi Casbolt has been a real positive for Brett Rattler and the Blues. Had an inauspicious start to his AFL career. He was the player who was allegedly handcuffed in the boat cruise back Christmas a couple of years ago, but he's come back in his 5th game, 3 goals. He looks like a very bright future for the Carlton Football Club.
Fair to say the shackles are off now, Tom.
Oh, very good, Baz.
Judd, long kick down again inside 50. That was a courageous effort to mark by Hardingham. He was taken high in the end by Casbolt, the man you spoke of, and will mark or free kick, and now 50. So Eddie giving that one away, and umpire right there to see it. The lead at the moment is 85 points. Their biggest win of the season, 91 points for the Blues. Had to go all the way back to round 2 at the Gabba against Brisbane. And their score at the moment, 21-9, 135 as Ryder marks inside 50. Their highest score, same day round 2 against Brisbane, 154 points. So those records really shaky now, and you could not possibly have seen that coming at the start of the day, Tom.
No, well, we love the live ladder here, and we know how important percentage might be, so it's important for Carlton that they did keep the foot down here and not let Essendon get back in at all in this last quarter.
So Ryder, who has kicked a goal this afternoon, he kicks from about 45, and that's an excellent kick right over the top of the goal umpire's head, and they get the first major. First for the Bombers of this final term. Carlton 21-9, Essendon 8-8. Paddy Ryder back in this side. That man on screen will be very happy with what he's seen this afternoon, and I guess now will fancy their chances. It may not, the tough part for the Blues is it may not solely be in their hands. They may need other results to go their way along the way, but gee, they put themselves in with a shot.
Well, the Blues right now, you speak of the live ladder, Tommy. They are in the 8, holding on at the moment. All about percentage. The live ladder used to just be the ladder. Now, the live ladder. Never had so many friends. Jobe Watson down but not out. The Bombers, though, are struggling. Bell sends them forward. Hibberd does well. Watson just has led this side all year. He's been in unbelievable form, and as we said earlier, he started his career as a son of a gun, and now he is simply a very, very good player. Outstanding. Scotland for the Blues. Loopy ball, fine for Bell. Over the top, Murphy. Murphy's got a heap of space. He can continue just to press forward. The long ball's the option. Simpson's the man he searches for. Over the top, it'll sit for Simpson. Has to double back though. Does well against Melksham. Fires a handball backwards. Gibbs is there. Heppel just sheepdogs him for the moment and holds him up against the boundary line. In the end, Hooker does the good work for the Bombers, and they come through the middle. Monfries is chosen. He goes to the outer side. Heppel's got a little bit of space. Over the top, Jetta starts to run. Ignored. And now Heppel retreats.
That was Monfries' first kick
for the afternoon.
And I reckon he's been charged with the responsibility of looking after Scotland. So it just shows you that if you're tagging a half-forward line, you really have to create something yourself to put pressure on that free player, if you like.
The Bombers have worked it to Alex Brown in his 6th game of AFL football, to the second gamer in Brendan Lee, who goes down and finds Monfries.
Jobe Watson's just come to the bench. He looks like he's winded, his body sore. He's been carrying the midfield for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'd imagine he would be pretty sore.
Monfries outside 50, the kick a good one, and Hurley, that was a good grab. It was high and above his head. Now, let's watch this. That's when Robinson was strong into Watson. He might have even copped another one on the way through. He sure did. Bell it was with the leg accidental after Robertson put him down in midfield, and I suppose the skipper would be well advised to have a breather. He can't lift his team from this point.
No, but he can still get out there, and that's what they probably need with 2 men down.
So Hurley very close to the boundary line, trying to thread it through. Tough from there, and just drifts across the face behind. Hurley with 1 goal, 3 this afternoon. Carlton's lead 78 points. 78.
There's a classical case here. If Carlton find a free player, this is where you have to switch on for that one-on-one.
Tui to Cruiser. Thought about Scotland. He's got the Colt following, does Cruiser. To Wait. Such a welcome inclusion back into this Blues side, and they've been much better for it. They've won 4 of the last 6 coming into today. They'll win this afternoon, and 2012 remains very much alive. Hocking, little one to Jetta. Wider still to Heppel. He's got Davies starting to run Monfries. Ryder and Hurley, the options deep. Davies chosen marks in front of Yaron. The Blues, they start to flood back. Davey just holds it up for a while, allows the Blues just to fill holes over the top now. Well, Hurley's got to be good here, and he is good. Well, in the end, White went down, and Hurley getting good his ground. Second grab was good enough.
Yes, Hamish, but he's getting a lot of football very, very wide. Very wide, and generally 2-on-1. And that's more remarkable, the fact that he's able to take that mark, because they know their targets, and Carlton have done very well by crushing the opposition's opportunity to take those marks. But these are always difficult shots. The more you force a side wide, particularly in front 50, the more chance you've got of recovering it.
Tough shot. He puts it into the goal square. Big fly from Ryder. Armfield crumbs the ball. Just takes a couple of bombers on. Backs himself and kicks the Blues out of trouble for the moment. The bounce, well, perfect for Wait in the end. He takes some bombers on as well. And gives it off to Dygan. Back to Wait. Hemmed in. Sidesteps Watson. They've got confidence at the moment at the Blues. The spiralling ball to half forward. Who will this suit? In the end, good knock down. Hardingham to Hooker. Sweeps the handball into Dempsey. He can go to Hocking. Over the top now to Lee. Wait. Murphy. Big tackle. Gonski.
Just indecision again there from the Bombers. We've seen it all day. Jared Wait, we've been watching him for the best part of a decade, and we just love to see him get a free run with injury, because he's got absolutely all the tools to be a great player for Carlton.
Well, it was all but sold to Eddie Betts, and he dropped the ball, and Monfries ends up with it. Hasn't had a lot of it, as Mick Malthouse alluded to moments ago. Now to Stanton, one of the 4-ins this afternoon. He's got Hurley on the lead, and he finds Hurley this time. This, Mick, a little straighter for Michael Hurley.
And he's not going to muck around. He's going to go straight up the goal square.
Long ball is offline.
I've been watching Mark Murphy pretty closely over the last 5 minutes. He's up to 29 possessions. He's probably best on field at the moment, and Essendon have shown him no respect. No one's really close to him. He's having a great game.
White took that easy as you like. Defensive 50, and then just ran away. Nobody near him, nobody manning the mark. Wait. Well done by Dempsey. Got his hands on the foot. He's had it a long time. Needs to make an attempt. We know all about that. Obviously, he did it. Came out Hooker's way to Heppel. To Stanton. Back to Watson. Back out on the ground. Got around Bell. He looks upfield, and the kick into the middle of the ground. Jetta had it fisted away by Yaron. Wait kept coming. Jetta went into Wait. It spills out wide. Watson's way, and he gets a free kick. So that's called downfield. It's actually sideways and forward by 1 metre. Still, technically correct. Brown.
Picking himself up behind the ball is Joe Watson again. He's really been battered today.
Hardingham to Bell Chambers. In the middle of the ground. The best looking kicking style. Ryder with a big fly. Had 3 to beat in the air. The Blues left the numbers Essendon's way on the ground, but they just couldn't control it. The ball out now towards Davey. Might still be a chance. Good tackle, Scotland. Handball up towards Judd. That was nicely done from McLean. His clearing kick towards the line. Hardingham tackled as he crossed the line, and the ball will be thrown in.
We've spoken about how big his shorts are there. He just needs the elastic there, the tie, get him up.
That elastic needs to be shoved, I reckon, hey?
Yep.
Well, Bell, nice pick up. He's been likened to Kuta feet. He's picked that up like Kuta used to. Gibbs over the top. Now to Garlett. Can they go again here, the Blues? Garlett to 50 over the top. Absolutely they will. Waits and kicks a goal. Make it 5 for Jared Wait. When they're on the Blues, and they're on this afternoon. We debated before the match who we thought would win, and we're all sort of in dispute. All over by half-time. The Blues have put on A real display at the MCG against the old foe.
So just catch this behind the ball, behind the line here. This Gibbs kick or hand pass comes in. Garland kicks the football and quite easily finds weight because his direct opponent dropped off, expecting the ball to go about a 30-metre shorter ball. You cannot anticipate as a backline player.
Fourth bag of 5, first at the MCG for Jared Waite. Terrific afternoon. He mentioned his dad a couple of times in the call. If he's looking down, he'll be loving this. And the kick towards the wing. Oh, Tom Harley, heart in mouth stuff. Curnow, though, he kept his eye on the footy.
Well, Mitch Robinson always has eyes on the footy, and sometimes his teammates are the ones that get on the end of that. So I was just a bit concerned there for Ed Curnow.
Murphy to Garlett. Garlett's kicked 3 of his own, and he goes in the Walker direction, and Walker marks. That's a strong grab.
It's been too big, too quick, and catching Essendon a lot of one-on-one plays. And any good side that can do that regularly means that one is that you're working for your teammate. 2 is you're lowering your eyes and finding the right option. And 3, unfortunately for Essendon, their spare play behind the ball is just not influencing that kick whatsoever.
Walker is one of 5 Carlton players with 3 or more goals this afternoon. He's kicked 3 goals, 1. So to go to 4 goals, be the only man on that line. His kick is across the face and it's gone over the line for a throw-in. Waite with 5, and Garlett, Walker, Casbolt and McLean with 3 apiece.
So Bell Chambers, he's done a lot of that work this afternoon. Curnow, who was so brave moments ago. Have a look at this. That is the repair shop for Essendon. It's the Chinese year of the rabbit, but sadly being the year of the soft tissue injury for the Bombers. They have had a mountain, and the Blues, they're going to have a big win, but they won't add a goal here. McLean offline.
We're just watching the Blues today, and if they can sneak into the 8, can they do some damage in the first couple of weeks of the finals?
Well, let's look at the ladder the way it is. If they finish 8th, 5th at the moment is West Coast.
Yep.
It's another travelling game. They could worry West Coast, but if West Coast get a couple of their players back, then you suspect that it should be a difficult task.
They did have that big final there last year, didn't they? They ran them to within a few points and were so brave.
Here's Bell, gives the football to Murphy. Lots of options. It's going to end up with McLean, who's having some sort of afternoon. The kick not so good into Stanton, but he got it back. Now they work it to Gibbs. It came from McInnes. Long down to Walker! Almost. Couldn't quite juggle the mark. Watson mops up. Handball for Brown. He's met by Gibbs. It falls to Zaharakis. Still some trouble. Melksham just got it out. It ends up with Jetta. It was nicely done. They paddle it. Brown was in there as well. Davey kept coming. They've worked it towards midfield. Here's Hurley. Back to Jetta. That kick, interesting to say the least. There's Monfries. Now he's on the wing. He can look upfield, and breaking for him and marking the football. Nicely done by Brendan Lee, the boy from Bustleton via East Perth, and he kicks to Jetta. Attacking edge of the centre square, so he wants to send it long. The number's not really there. Slipping over Hurley didn't help the situation. Tui, oh, he's run into trouble, but Hocking's tackle didn't stick. And the kick not bad in the end. It finds Murphy, who comes in for possession number 33. If he kicks it, he does.
He looks for Cruiser. He's got a couple of Bombers to beat. Heppel did well. Got a fist onto it. Spilt to Dempsey. Now to Watson. Back to Ryder. Ryder breaks through. Gives it off to Heppel. Sidesteps. Gets onto his left. Bell puts the tackle on. Forces the issue. Curnow's there. Tries to find a player. He does. McLean paddles it. Couldn't take it cleanly. Zaharakis lost the ball. Dempsey goes and wins it. Gives it off though. Ends up with Cruiser. He fires it to Brock McLean. He'll go searching for a target. Robinson on the lead. Got hands onto it, couldn't take it cleanly. Hibbert, he collided, took the ball, got up, did well, used the right boot. Inside to Stanton now. Little ball over the top to Jetta's okay. Man wide. That's the way the ball goes. Lee sits a long time underneath it. Goes short, and Monfries, who's seen it sparingly this afternoon, goes inside and finds Davey.
Still very wide. That ball, it's okay to go wide when you come out of defence. When you're entering that front 50, you've got to give teammates an opportunity to score a goal from the right angles.
That was your go for a long time, Mick, along the boundary, but the last kick in, is that when it needed to be?
Well, it doesn't do the last kick. You start to bring the ball back through the half-forward line, but you've got to centre that. There's a strip through there on the MCG. You can see it there in the middle of the ground there.
Davey, well, Cramry had it delivered to him, not intentionally, and he let the Bombers fans down. Ends up with Murphy giving it off to Judd, and he goes to Walker. Hibbert again, got fist onto it, ends up with Brown now, back to Hibbert, over the top. Robinson got Falcon, did a good job smothering it, but Hibbert went and got it again, now to Lee. Works it into the middle of the ground. Here we go again, this time to Jetta. Jetta's got one just behind him, it's Hardingham, long ball, top of the square. Hurley sets himself, Dygan, front spot.
So that's just a Hail Mary. Let's just kick the ball in and hope that Hurley marks it. I feel sorry for Hurley today. He's being put under massive pressure by the way the ball has been coming in.
Got Robinson in the eye. It looked pretty nasty. Garlett and Yaron combined. Yaron with a give and go. And now Walker and Simpson running in towards an open goal. Needs only to control it. He does, and kicks his third. Six players now with 3 or more goals for the Blues, and Carlton's lead is a staggering 90 points. 90 points, 9-0, 23-10. Robinson, that's going to sting. He's going to have a nice shiner by about lunchtime tomorrow.
That never tickles. Mitch Robinson has got that straight in the eye, and he's spending a bit of time on the bench. That's the 6th goal that Cade Simpson got for the Blues from the goal square. Not Cade Simpson, but Blues in total. They've just really had all the run for this entire game and have made the Bombers defenders look quite uncomfortable at times.
So Casbolt ends up in the middle with another youngster. This time Bell gives it to Murphy. He goes forward. There's a heap of the Blues around, but none are chosen. Hooker just intercepts and sets the Bombers away again. This time it's Watson. He just ambles through the middle of the MCG. Handballs over the top to Dempsey. Casbolt again. Big tackle. Forces the issue. The ball spilled wide. And Judd picks it up, kicks it forward. 90 points is the margin, Mick and Tommy. It's only 2 goals off the biggest margin the Blues have ever beaten Essendon by.
That's quite remarkable when you analyse it. They're foundation clubs, aren't they? Or thereabouts, 800 odd years together against one another.
We've got to look at the Premiership Cup earlier this afternoon. Of course, they're playing for the Madden Cup here today. That's in honour of the brothers, Simon and Justin, of course, Tom, not Benji and Joel. The combined tally of 710 AFL games between them. Greats with both clubs. Now there's a whistle there. Davey was taken high, slow to get to his feet. Now downfield is the call, so it has to go back.
So that whistle does really diminish the value of that kick.
Well, it's ended up with Davey anyway, I guess. Mickey goes long, and that's a very strong mark. Terrific grab by the big ruckman, Bell Chambers.
Thanks, boys.
They've been able to get their hands on the ball. Here's the free kick that was a downfield one. They've been able to get their hands on the ball by marking it Essendon this quarter. They only had 35 up until 3/4 time. They've got up to 65, but far too little too late for the Bombers.
Bell Chambers hasn't kicked a goal today. 10 for the season. 23-year-old playing game number 42, and that's a bad miss from there. And well, when you're not going well, you're not going well, and suddenly the coaching caper, not so easy for this man.
Oh, well, coaching's never easy. Winning or losing, you've got to get through it. And I think Jimmy Hurd, who is such a perfectionist as a player, is probably thinking, how could this possibly take place when there's so much at stake?
Gibbs chooses himself as an option and then runs and heads in the cruiser direction. Offhands, Monfries, McLean there too. Good give to Heppel, but the underline beats all involved. It's remarkable how many times a season can change within a season for a side.
Oh, well, injuries have a massive part to play in that. Then you lose momentum. Then there's the form.
Holding Watson, John Watson, free kick. Right out, Heath.
The Blues just started on fire. Were premiership favourites, fell out of favour. Have had such a great month and a half. It's going to be a big win this afternoon. Finals not so far away. Will they be playing? Jetta quickly to the top of the square. Crammery, well, Belchambers hands on it. Lonergan, can he finish? High up and under sort of a ball, and no one at home. Simpson dropped it, has time, gives it off to Gibbs, gets corralled. He loops it over the top. Dygan's the man he's found. Lee tries to stop him, but he gets the kick away to the outer side, and Garrett, we've got so much pace, just plays on, backs himself. Little one to Scotland. Now Betts. Walker might stream through too. Betts waits for it, and it's delivered. Walker, he streams back. We've got Bell running inside too. Betts, he doesn't like anyone but himself, and he just kicks at goal, but this time it is offline.
Well, they've really made one of the Essendon's running backs really accountable, and he's failed miserably today, and that's Dempsey. He just hasn't been able to go with Betts or Garland.
Hooker to Watson to Heppel. It ends up with Zaharakis towards midfield, and now Lonergan. Scotland with him, manning the mark. A long kick down towards Hurley. Comes, it's tried hard. Ball there, taken high almost for Lee. It was there to be one on the ground. He's reaching in, trying to keep it alive. Tui on top of him, and it'll be bounced 48 metres out.
The Carlton defenders have done a great job to keep Essendon just to 8 goals. Sure, the Essendon players haven't had the opportunities, but they're without, obviously, Jamison and Henderson. That's the area of the ground where injuries are still hurting the Blues, but they've stood up admirably well.
Tom Belchambers, back here.
So Levi not happy with that free kick. He's been terrific this afternoon, as we've said. Casbolt 3 goals, 12 disposals. He's given away the free kick there, though. Just 6 games of AFL football, and I guess a little too late. The free kicks and things starting to turn around Essendon's way. And they are shell-shocked, the Bombers, no doubt about that. Hard to see them recovering from this. Long kick from Belchambers is just offline. So as we've said a couple of times, it's Richmond and Collingwood to come there. Going to drop out of the 8, and well, I'm not sure that there's a recovery for them, Tom.
No, it'll be the first time, Baz, since round 1 when they actually beat North Melbourne by a couple of points. They were 9th after round 1, so the second time that they've actually been out of the 8. They've been a mainstay all year. They've had a really good year, but injuries have taken their toll in the second half.
To sum the match up, the Bombers have just hit 60 points for the afternoon. The Blues kicked 61 points in the second term. So McGuinness just fires in the Betts direction, favours Hibbert, takes the mark, and it's been a lean old couple of months for the Bombers, and this afternoon is an ugly affair against the old rival. Dempsey just goes short to Melksham and then continues to run to half forward. Crammery couldn't take it. Yarran will mop up, as he's been doing so well of late. Now to Scotland and onto the left boot, and he'll set Simpson up, and he can start to run. Decides to just deliver in turn to Gibbs. If you came here as a Blues fan, you would have been hopeful, probably not expectant. This has been a golden afternoon. A lot of the debutantes have got a lot of the football. Casbolt and Bell, who has come onto the ground. And for Bombers fans, with Dustin Fletcher going down early and Carlisle just adding to the injury list, it was a tone that was set early for a bleak afternoon.
149 Carlton, that's their total score. That's what they kicked against the Bombers in the finals last year, in that elimination final. And well, they're only 5 points off their highest score for the season, and just a couple of points from their biggest winning margin. Here's Dygan, inside defensive 50. Clock inside the final minute of this match, and Carlton with reason to celebrate tonight. Late, when most had written them off, they've got their season going again. Their skipper's back, and there's a little bit of hope back for the Navy Blues. Armfield to Yarran. This would be some sort of finish to the afternoon. He lines them up, and Walker! One-handed! What a grab!
I'll switch on here. Just play on, Kenny.
Well, the umpire's conferring, and is the mark going to be paid? And I reckon the goal umpire...
And that was over the line. Give it straight back to Jock now.
We understand. Umpire McBurney. Jeez, it was all one motion, I reckon. And you see a bobble.
No, there wasn't a second grab there. It's stiff there, Andrew Walker.
So Cruiser, one last ditch. The umpire's allowing the kick. He's got a sense of theatre. So to add to the 90-point margin, Mark Murphy with 36 touches He hasn't got anything to worry about. The margin is safe, but he just adds to it. What an afternoon for Carlton. The Blues, they built the old enemy, and in doing so, they keep their finals aspirations alive, and suddenly the Bombers in disarray. Big afternoon for the Blues. It was a big win. Chris Judd was a welcome inclusion. He's with Kirky.
Juddy, super win. You missed him for a month. How'd you feel out there? How's the fitness?
Not too bad. Just good to get out there and have a run. 4 weeks is a long time at footy, so wrapped to be back.
And there's a lot of feeling in the game earlier. Was there a bit about redemption from around last time you played?
Not so much about that. We just want to make sure we finish our season well. You know, overall we're probably disappointed with where we sit, but we feel we've still got a lot to play for, and I thought we came out and put our best foot forward today.
And the finals hopes are still alive. What's been that turnaround the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Look, it's never just one thing, but I think the combination of getting some fit players back on the park and the players taking responsibility for what we're going to do out there.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Big afternoon for the Blues. 4th highest score ever against the Bombers, and their 2nd biggest win. Their largest ever was 102 points. This afternoon, 96. Mick, they're impressive whichever way you look at it, regardless of how the Bombers perform.
You've still got to win games of football. It matters not what your opponent throws at you or who's out wearing those jumpers. You still have to have your game plan in motion. Still got to work for one another. Still got to split when the right time comes. Stick to your game plan. Clearly, Carlton went in there with an opportunity to say, we will put 1 plus or maybe even 2 behind the ball. We'll make sure that Essendon, when they come up the ground, when they run the ball, they're going to have to negate a couple of players. Very, very well done by the Blues.
From Chris Judd, we go to another star in Mark Murphy.
That's right, Hamish. I'd say best on ground, Mark Murphy. Murph, such an even contribution out there today. Was that the focus coming in?
Yeah, it's been a focus all year. Everyone just playing their part, and all the middies all got plenty of ball, and we made a big focus on contested footy, and all the boys really cracked it hard all day.
You look like you've really stepped up in your leadership over the last month with Juddy out. Has that been a focus of yours?
Yeah, I've been focused on it all year. So the last 4 weeks was a good learning experience, but to have Juddy back in is fantastic, and all the boys lifted and got right behind him.
Thanks, mate. Go enjoy this ground.
Thanks, mate.
A super game today, 37 disposals and a goal. He has become one of the bona fide leaders of this team. In the absence of Chris Judd, he did it. And of course, Carlton winning 3 of 4 without Judd. Their only loss to Sydney. They've kept that run going. That's 4 out of the last 5 now. And we'll say it again, if Fremantle should lose to Richmond this afternoon, that game being played in Perth later on, well, it's incredible to think, but Carlton will be in the 8th tonight. Their season is not done yet, and they've done it on the back of their highest score for the season and their biggest winning margin for the year. Carlton 24-12, 156. Essendon 8-12-60. It's the Blues by 96 points on an unbelievable day for this side.
Tommy, what did you make of the Bombers?
Look, they really struggled, Hamish. They've had some massive concerns with injuries. I think when Dustin Fletcher went down, not only did it upset their structure, but I think some ill discipline came into the way they went about it. Gave away some undisciplined 50-metre penalties, and it just really went downhill from there. They couldn't sort out the free man behind the ball, which was Scotland. Didn't necessarily get a stack of the ball, but he certainly put himself in positions to make the Bombers players full of indecision when they were bringing the ball into their forward line, and they really struggled. There's no 2 ways about it, Mick.
Yep, you're right. And classical, one of the last plays I watched was Murphy on this wing. Essendon player looked at him, then ran him behind the ball and left that player on the wing by himself, probably the best player on the ground. Inevitably, it spun out. Murphy picked it up and was able to deliver that ball to, I think it might have been Yaron, who was able to have it last shot. Just really mixed game by Essendon.
Well, the biggest loss for the Bombers under James Hird. The Blues sensational at the MCG. 96-point winners, and 2012 is alive for the Blues.